from the oldest city in the USA, St. Augustine tonight, with our guest,
Tracy Halcomb, Magdalena Hess, David Reed, and musical guest, the Sax Pack.
With your host, Jorge Rivera.
Oh, yeah. Well, you had breakfast this morning. How nice, how nice. Well, I want to start, as I always start, thanking the Lincolnville Museum and Cultural Center, the St. John's Cultural Council, Vectovision, where you see everything, art and life in 3D, and also Ancient City Brew. That's what makes our jokes funny, the beer you drink. And also Flowers by Shirley. Look at that. That doesn't look like flowers. That looks more like a trophy. It is very heavy. It's very beautiful. So I thank Wendell Revis. He has a great, great heart, and he's a super guy. So, in the news, they just passed a bill that you can't say gay. I already said it, so let's move on. I broke the law. I'm sorry. I'll surrender after the show. Something else in the news I found. You know the disgraced producer Harvey Weinstein was just busted in prison for smuggling milk duds. And I know they're delicious. That chocolate and caramel is absolutely wonderful. And it could start a chocolate riot or a caramel riot. But it looks like his lawyer was the one that, so now when the lawyer comes in, he has to go through a whole inspection. And that's not very nice. As you know, the war is going on. Gas is climbing up. We pray that this war doesn't move on into something more serious. But in South Africa, the Russian embassy put out a statement. I thought this was funny. A statement saying that, you know, they were liberating Ukraine from Nazis. And so the German embassy said, this statement is so cynical. It says, it's a cynical statement, it's not true. When it comes to Nazis, sadly, we're the experts. So I did, slap. So that was so funny. Sadly, we're the experts, yes. A guy by the name of Romanowski just broke the record for being submerged in ice for 2 hours and 35 minutes. Only his head was sticking out. I say it's easier just having a rum and coke on ice. But he wanted the Guinness World Records, and he broke the record. In Denver, something very funny happened. A guy in daylight went into a truck, stole the dolly, loaded a giant box, and ran away. What he didn't know is that the box is full of human heads. It's something that's transferred to hospitals of bodies, people who donate their bodies. So in this, they had severed several heads, put them in a box. It said specimen. I'd love to see a camera shot of his face when he opened that box. Oh, I'm looking at him like that. This would have been just beautiful. Michael Jordan, the basketball player, did his debut in Chicago in 1984. That first game that he was in, someone bought a ticket and never used it. That ticket was unused, and it just auctioned for $468,000. So don't throw away your St. Augustine Tonight ticket. You don't know. You don't know. Out of North Carolina, a bulldog had a litter of puppies, and one of the puppies was green. This phenomenon happens, it's very rare, But it happens when the puppy comes down the chute, he goes and scrapes with the bile and pigmentation of something, and he comes out green. It'll wear out. After 6 weeks, he should be normal. But what I thought it was so funny, it was a little female. So the picture was adorable, this little green puppy, and people wanted to call him Fiona from Shrek. They wanted to call him Wasabi. They wanted to call him Lucky Irish. But my favorite name that they wanted to get was Pistachio. I thought that was the winner. Now, in North Carolina also, there was a little baby born. The baby was born at 2:22 a.m. on the second month of the year, 22nd day of the year 22, in room 2. Now, her name is Pistachio. No, her name is not Pistachio. Her name is Judah Grace, which means blessing, because the mother was struggling with Hodgkin's disease, lymphoma. And so the odds of the baby being born were like 0. And she had a beautiful, healthy baby named Judah Grace. Let's give Judah Grace a hand. And welcome him to our world. Hopefully she'll make it better. But I hope no one delivers any babies here tonight. We don't want to call a baby St. Augustine tonight and his middle name with Jorge Rivera. That would be very, very bad. But I'm going to leave you with something even better than that. I'm going to leave you with the Sax Pack. Oh yeah, these are members of the St. Augustine Concert Band. They play in that enormous orchestra or band. I call it an orchestra. It has like 50-some musicians, and they're rogue. They do this on their own. See, they've gone rogue, and so we're delighted to have them on the show, guys. You guys are great. And also, I want to give a shout out. It's the International Day of the Woman. Female power. So, we'll be back after these messages.
In the morning I wake, another beautiful day. I finally figured the recipe. Profit is what you make it. Nothing petty can get to me. A little bit of slow, a little bit of go, a little bit of high, a little bit of low.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with Tracy Halcomb.
Nice
and
to be here.
If you've seen Tracy around town, it's because she works at Flagler College. She teaches their young people how to be filmmakers and many other things. What is your title there at Flagler?
I'm a professor and also the internship coordinator at Flagler College in the communication department.
Mm-hmm. Now, you're originally from Ohio.
Yes,
And-
Tiffin, Ohio.
What is it called?
Tiffin, Tiffin. It's about an hour
Tiffin.
south of Toledo.
Oh, right, Toledo. I had someone I knew from Toledo. I had a crush on her. Wonder whatever happened to her. She was lovely, lovely human being. And now you started in communications as soon as you got out of high school. You went into college to
right.
study communications.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny. You said I took communications because there wasn't much math.
Exactly. No, that's not the way to choose a major, but that was the way I chose my major. Yeah.
I thought that. Well, no, you try to. You know, it's a long journey, right? So you see the mountain, you're gonna look which way. You know what I'm saying? Do I really want to climb the rock all the way up? Some people go that way. Some people say, you know what? I'll just take this little path that goes right up. There's a little soda shop here. I can have a little drink and make it all the way to the top. So now you started on radio.
Yes.
And how was that experience?
It was good. I mean, I started as a copywriter. I wrote commercials and had a good time for WTTF, my hometown radio station, but that was back in the early 80s, and they wouldn't put a female on the air.
Oh, boy. Talk about International Day of the Woman.
Yeah, so I left to go to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Wavy 1380, and they did put a woman on the air.
Oh, wow.
And then
What kind of music did they do?
it was oldies. It was
Okay.
great. It was in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and our studio looked over the Piscataqua River.
Mm-hmm.
It was just gorgeous in the summer and fall, horrible in the winter. And then all of a sudden, my old radio station in Tiffin contacted me and said, "We would like you to come back and be on the air." And I said,
Oh.
"Okay." So then I went back and
And-
was an announcer, did all kinds of fun stuff.
Wow. I always feel like when you do radio, like you're always like learning on the job. It's not like a class you can take before. It's like they throw you in there to the lions, and you see all those buttons and lights, and you have to learn quick.
Well, it was a lot of fun, though. I mean, you learn every day. We did a lot of live television because it was small. It was 50,000 watts, but it was a small hometown radio station. So we still had call-in radio shows, and so you'd have to quietly get people off the air that maybe shouldn't be on the air a lot, and were saying inappropriate things. And then I always had my grandma who would call in and, well, you know, "Hi, Tracy. Oh, it's so good to see you. Are you coming to dinner Sunday?" And I'm like, "Grandma, just sell your items. That's all.
Okay.
We're on Tradio. Just do it." You know. And
That's funny.
so yeah, we had relatives that would call in and have a lovely family discussion on the air. So not good.
That's
no.
funny. Now you made a move from there to Louisiana, was it?
Right.
What
that-
did they offer you in Louisiana that took you out of a job that seemed that you were enjoying?
Well, I was on the air on radio and then decided I would go back to school and try to complete my master's. And my radio station owner, Dick Wright, may he rest in peace, he's dead now, but he actually paid for me to take a class, and then I paid for my other class. So he helped me go back to school. And I finished my master's, and then they were crazy enough to give me a fellowship to do my PhD. And then I left Ohio because I thought, I've got a degree now, I'm going somewhere warm. So I went to Louisiana. So,
Says
yeah.
Dr. Holcomb has paid her dues. Time to go warm. And warm was Louisiana. Mm-hmm. So now you come to Louisiana with a PhD, and what do you do?
I taught at a big state school,
teaching now.
Southeastern Louisiana University.
It's called what, LU? Is it what it is?
SLU.
Oh, SLU.
Yeah,
not
not
LSU.
LSU. No. Very different, believe me. Yeah, very different.
Okay.
And it was beautiful. I love the people in Louisiana. I still go back a couple times a year just to visit friends that I made there. And then A big state school really wasn't where I wanted to be.
Right,
I had classes of hundreds, and I didn't know any of my students. And I sent out one job application, and that was to Flagler College, because I said, there's no way it can look that good on the the website.
Right.
And I came over in a beautiful March day, and it was just crystal blue skies and all that terracotta roof and the palm trees, and I was like, I'm here. I'm home. I'm home.
Sold.
Been there for 22 years. So,
22 years.
Yeah.
So what's your basic job at the school? I mean, what do you teach them?
Video production, audio production, media law, and I supervise internships. This semester I'm teaching senior thesis, where the students have a whole semester to make their film,
Right.
whatever they want their calling card, and that's pretty much what I do.
Wow. Because what's great about you, you're not just a textbook teacher. Well, you had a lot of experience in radio and that. But when I met you, you had finished a documentary that was on the festival called Cracking Aces.
Right. Yes.
And it was about, what was the documentary about?
It's about professional female poker players.
The International Day of the Woman, that's
Yeah.
right. Professional women poker. Now,
Yeah.
were these women making money?
Oh, absolutely. They support themselves. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're making six figures kind
right.
of thing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
we
wow.
we interviewed them at their houses, and we called them poker palaces, because they were houses that poker built, and they were very nice houses.
Very
Yes,
nice houses.
yeah.
That was funny. You were telling me that you and your partner in crime here to
Right.
create this.
Right. H. James Gilmore. Get his name in there. All right.
Yeah, and he and you were at like a Benihana's or something like that, a Japanese steakhouse.
Absolutely.
And,
yeah.
and that was where suddenly, by random luck, you met these women, you started a conversation, you said, this would be a good documentary.
Yeah, I mean, Benihana's is, thank you to Benihana's, where you sit with everyone, and then we went around, what do you do? We're professors. Oh, you're in town for the conference. What do you guys do? We play poker. We were like, no, what do you do for a living? And we play poker. and then they hand us their business cards, and one was in the Women's Poker Hall of Fame, and the other was in the International Poker Hall of Fame for men and women. And Jim and I looked at each other and went, this would make a cool documentary. And it was phenomenal.
And
so much fun, and went to Vegas 4 or 5 times a year, and
Wow.
it was good.
And a good reason to go to Vegas. I'm going to work. I'm going to Vegas.
Yes.
Yes.
College paid for many of those trips, yeah.
And now, how long do you say it took you from the time you met them at Benihana's to you had a final film finished and ready to be shown? How long did that take?
I would say about 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Because Jim is a full-time professor also
Okay.
at the University of Michigan, and I'm a full-time professor here. So we had to schedule it around conferences that we could go to Vegas and shoot some interviews, and then we also went to Atlantic City and New York, and so we tried to cover a lot of different female poker players in different areas, and so we did it during the summers, and so it took about 3 years.
Wow. Yeah, it was fascinating. I tell you, I was glued. People loved it. Among the many films in that film festival, yours was one of those I heard people talking about, because I was filming the film festival, little talking people here and there,
Right.
and yours came up a lot. Oh, I love that one about those women, poker players.
It was a happy story. I mean, it was a very
Yeah.
positive story.
Yes.
Kind of, they overcame a lot of prejudice at the poker tables, and they
Right.
made some really good changes for the poker industry as a whole, to help them grow the sport, grow the game.
And you also say they have like a cruise line or something?
Oh, they do, yeah. It's all poker cruises. They do, no, you sign up.
I can see people
and
getting off the cruise with no shirt on. That's my imagery. The cruise comes in, all these people have no shirts and shoes on and no watches, They've lost everything on the ship.
But that's what they want to do.
Wow.
They would just want to play poker the whole cruise.
Right.
So.
So the last time I talked to you, you were starting to put together your next project, which I thought was fascinating too. It's about baseball scouts.
Yes, Major League Baseball scouts.
Since then and now, how far are you into this project right
We're
now?
almost done with the principal photography. We're almost done shooting. We've got a couple more interviews to do, but I mean like 3
Right.
that we're going to do. But we started this the summer before the pandemic. So we started it in July 2019.
Right.
And we're moving right along on schedule, very happy. And then all of a sudden in March 2020, everything kind of shut down. And all of a sudden, nobody was going anywhere. They certainly didn't want strangers in their house to talk to them. And so that put us back about a year.
Wow.
But later in 2021, it started to open up again, and we were able to travel and do some interviews. And then as people felt comfortable, got the shot or didn't get the shot, whatever, and just, kind of opened up. So it was, it's been a lot of fun. We're almost done. And then,
What have you learned about
oh my
these
gosh.
scouts so far?
Well,
What are some of the things we don't know? Because we think of, I love that movie Moneyball.
Okay.
Oh, that is a great
Yeah.
movie. I think, it seems like there's strong opinions on that table. But
Right.
what are things that we don't know about baseball scouts?
Well, I'd been around baseball my whole life. My brother played forever, college, whatever, and I thought, I know what a scout does, and no, I had no idea that there were different levels of scouts, there was different hierarchies within those levels, there were amateur scouts, there are professional scouts where they poach players off of other teams, and then there's international scouts, and they have all different kinds of rules. And we just got back from San Juan, where we went down and talked to some international scouts, and it was just fascinating. So the more I learned about scouting, the more I knew so little about the actual. So I think people would just be fascinated, baseball fans particularly,
Right. I like
to
baseball.
know all the different facets, what goes on behind. And this was kind of a peek behind the curtain, right? You think you know what a scout does. He goes to games all the time. He has a speed gun for the pitchers and writes down a couple notes. And no, it is high tech, and the scouts they're balanced with the analytic guys, the Moneyball people.
Right, like
so,
the guy who said,
and
why do
then-
we have him? Because he gets on base, thank you. And he goes back to him. It's funny.
Yeah, and so it's fascinating to see how the pandemic played into the way they did their
A lot
games.
of them lost their jobs during the
Many
pandemic.
of them lost their jobs during the pandemic.
They have like 1-year contracts, is that right?
Yes, they do. That's it.
12
That's
months,
all.
you either have a job at the end
Doesn't
of 12
matter
years.
how long you've been doing it. For 30 years, you get signed for a 1-year deal.
Cold-blooded.
Next year, see you, bye. So yeah.
Wow. It must be hard when they're older. Like if they're in their 50s, still not ready for retirement, and then it's like death of a salesman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Truly.
It's kind of cold-blooded. Yeah. So when do you think it'll be ready? Ballpark?
Hopefully by the end of this year.
Okay.
The end of this
The end
year,
22?
early 2023. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hopefully that's when we'll be doing the festival circuit
All
and
right.
possibly get it distributed maybe on ESPN or MLB.
Because your
something like
Cracking
that.
Aces did lots of festivals and you won awards and all that.
Yeah,
That was great.
That was fun. It was fun to take that on the road for a year and a half and
yeah.
go everywhere from Los Angeles to Atlantic City, everywhere in between, and even over to Milan, Italy.
Oh,
And that was a lot of
wow.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, you say the people in Milan really liked it. Uh-huh.
They did. I think they were fascinated by just kind of like, ooh, America.
Say, only in America, only in America. Yeah, you can do that you cannot play poker and live off poker in Italy. Yes, yeah. All right. Well, when that movie comes out of the Scouts, you please let me know.
I will, definitely.
Okay,
Sure.
and it's great having you.
Yes,
Great
thank you
having
so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
We'll be back after these messages.
A bit of giving and taking. Life, it is what you make it. Nothing petty can get to me. A little bit of slow, a little bit of go, a little bit of high, a little bit of low. Ooh, live for the moment. Ooh, live for the time. Ooh, live for the moment. Now you get yours and I'll get mine.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with Magdalena Hess. She's a New Yorican like myself. And she grew up in Spanish Harlem. I grew up in Hell's Kitchen. Today it's Soho. But I brought her on the show. She has a very interesting story. She is a jewelry designer, designs jewelry, and she started with her husband when she was very young. And so tell us a little bit about your husband.
Thank you. So my husband was a multi-award-winning jewelry designer and also a philanthropist. He began many organizations that would help other creative designers.
Right.
And I recently wrote a book from his journal, which is, I try to sort of think the book as everyday wisdom. It's basically his observations on things such as marriage, love,
And he
friendship.
passed away about a year ago?
Yes, exactly.
And his name was Jose Hess.
Yes.
And the awards is a who's of awards. Diamonds was his thing. Now, you met him in the Diamond District.
Yes, I did.
When you were young, you were working in the Diamond District.
Yes, we worked together. We were married 33 years, thank God. And we met in the industry. I started in the industry after graduating, and I was fascinated with the jewelry industry, how you can just take these stones and place them into necklaces, and how a diamond setter could either pave it or add stones, metal to it. It was just fascinating.
Right.
So because I've always had a creative streak, I just started dabbling in that. I met my husband and we designed together.
Wow, wow. And what I love of the book, which is something you wrote to honor him, it's called The Beauty in All. And basically out of his journal, you know, she has all these little themes in the book. It's a great coffee table book, you know, a small one, not those giant ones that you need to lift weights to pick up, but something that's easy to hold. But you know, the themes are love, beauty, humor, hate, selfishness, friendship, and it goes on, and it's very pretty, and every page has some unique design of jewelry that sort of complements what they're talking about on the other page. So I went through it and I loved it.
Thank
I thought
you.
it was very
Thank
nice.
you. Thank
I love
you.
his smile there. He looks, you know, so at ease, so relaxed. Now, when it comes to now, you have collections you've done on HSN and QVC
Yes,
and places
yes,
like that.
yes. So I have normally we work in gold and diamonds.
Okay.
So our collection on our website, josehas.com, is all diamonds and 18 karat gold,
Right.
and we have a bridal collection on there. It's
Right.
beautiful, and so, but you know, we always felt that art is art, design is design,
Right.
and you can make it in any sort of medium. So we decided to make it more affordable, and we brought our designs are being made in sterling silver with cubic zirconia. We are going to have our show in June on QVC, and it's going to
Okay.
be the Jose Hess Design Diamonique
Wow.
collection.
So you're revitalizing the whole collection and bringing it back to the public.
Yes, and a more affordable, a
Yes,
more
because
affordable line.
that zirconia, they also call it diamonique.
Yes,
is it?
yes.
It's
They call
diamonique. Sounds like diabolic.
No, no.
Yeah, diamonique.
Diamonique,
yes.
Diamonique.
We
And-
used to call it Sigornia.
And you know, and people love to to be able to afford design and be able to travel and not to have this valuable
Right.
big piece.
Right.
You know, and it's great. I mean,
Right.
you add something like I'm wearing, which is sterling silver with the Diamonique.
That's
And,
beautiful. I
thank
mean,
you.
well, the lights are just. I guess you guys are like, please put on your sunglasses. Put on your sunglasses. But it's a beautiful design. Now, what's the statement that your jewelry makes? If your jewelry had a motto, a statement, what would that be?
Thank you. Thank you. By the way, if you're blinded by this, I have sunglasses here. You know, we like to always say simplicity, elegance, and my husband and I always used to say elegance does not have to be complicated. And so if you design a piece in a simple way, but then you use technology to make sure that light is entering a stone, whether
Right.
it's a diamond, a ruby, or a diamonique, and that light entering reflects back and creates a sparkle.
Right,
So you
right.
see, that's all in the design. Do you add too much metal to a stone, or do you let it breathe and show? It's
So once you were once you got into the diamonds, then you decided to go to what they call a gem school or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. So, to backtrack, so when I graduated and I was working in the Diamond District of New York City, and I was fascinated, I began to take courses, and there is a school called GIA, Gemological Institute of America, and there's many courses you can take. And so I've completed my diamond grading and jewelry designing and
Right,
jewelry
right.
retail, and so I'm an alumni. And also, I'm very proud to say that in my designs with my husband, of course, they were always contests called award-winning contests. So I was able to win a Diamonds Today De Beers
Wow, yeah.
award for one of my pieces, which is beautiful because you're the one winner in the United States.
Yeah,
so.
De Beers is the heavyweights. The heavyweights. Oh yeah. Now, what do you think is the most challenging for someone who designs jewelry? Where do you get your inspiration, for instance?
Well, our inspirations, I know it may sound just corny, but it's nature, it's love, it's the shape of these flowers. It's a wave. If you're in flow with design, then you start to see these shapes everywhere.
Right.
And the shape of your face.
Right.
And maybe a diamond earring curving up, and so you get all these ideas and you start scribbling. So the challenge, though, is that some designers can be very creative, but when they interpret that in the bench, you may end up with something that.
It looks like it melted. It was on a hot stove too long. Yes, no, I can see.
So
yeah,
it's
like a painter can have a visual, and then when he puts it on canvas,
yes,
there's no bridge no more. It's like, that's not what I see in my.
Exactly.
It must be frustrating.
Well, you just have to have a lot of discipline, and that's where analytical and numbers come in. You need to know millimeters and what goes best with this piece. Is it a 3 millimeter chain?
Well, tell me a little bit about this piece right here.
Yes, well, these are all made in sterling silver and with the cubic zirconia,
Yes.
which is diamonique. And so what we call this collection the pillow collection because they look like little square little pillows. And then in between, because if you just create those two squares and nothing in between, it just looks plain. So we added a little ornament in the between.
Right.
And then you have this piece, which is very, very flexible, and that's tricky because as you add and you weld and you solder a setting to the chain, you could freeze it. So now it doesn't move. So there's a lot of intricacy.
A lot of things that can go wrong.
Yes.
If you're not experienced.
Yes.
I guess that's how you get your experience, trial and error.
Yes.
How many gold chains have I messed up? Eventually one will make it. But you were doing a work with the La Misión Nombre de Dios.
Yes.
La Lady of la Leche.
Yes.
Doing stuff for their gift shop.
Yes.
And what were you basically doing with them when they asked you to come in and help?
So when I first arrived to St. Augustine, I began working with the diocese to help rebrand and redevelop their shop. They had a little gift shop at the shrine, and because of the hurricane, it had damaged the building that they were in originally, so they were sort of adding a little store to another building. And I evaluated the situation of what product can be and how to train, and then because of my background in designing, I started realizing so many things that could be designed around the shrine that will give the guests that come there inspiration to buy. So the Great Cross, if you're familiar with St. Augustine, you know that there's a 208.
I'll put it towards the camera.
There's a 208 feet tall
You
stainless
know the
steel
giant cross in St. Augustine? I live on Pine Street, so I could literally throw my shoe and hit it, which would be blasphemy, but that's how close I am. And so that is a replica of that you could put around your neck. And that's what I was telling you, that when you design jewelry, it must be so flattering that someone picks your design to wear on them.
Yes.
You know, it's not, you know, painting, you put it on the wall. But this is something you're going to wear, and it has to go with other stuff you're wearing, but you wear it proudly.
And it has to do with the shape, the design, just all the little tiny details that no one thinks about.
Right.
So these necklaces are made for the shrine. They're sold at the shrine gift shop and at the
Great
cathedral.
funds, yeah.
And because I noticed that visitors were coming and they wanted to buy a cross if that's
Yeah.
was their choice.
It's a Catholic persuasion.
Yes,
myself.
but they always wanted the Great Cross, and they were like, why is that not available?
Right.
And that was simple.
Right.
So there it is.
So there it is. You also have purses in the Hess collection.
Oh, yes. So in the in our collection,
Sunglasses.
we moved to accessories.
Right.
We also have a collection of handbags and, yes, the Hollywood sunglasses. So when you wear the bling bling, you can.
Yeah, man. When you wear your bling, man. That's right. Yeah. When I visited your home, something that was very touching. Jose was of the Jewish persuasion, and there's a room in your house you call the Jewish room. And there are all these things from his family, but something that really struck me that had so much energy in that room is his grandmother was a survivor of the Holocaust, and in a frame is her yellow Jewish star that says Judah. And I've seen that star in museums, but I've never seen it in someone's home. His connection with his grandmother, to not forget. I thought that was very beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
But I thank you so much for coming to the show. You know, we don't know the people who live here. And everyone has an extraordinary story, whether it's a documentarian or a jewelry designer. So I thank you for saying yes to come to the show.
Thank you.
All right, Magdalena Hess. And we're going to have an intermission so you can fill your wine glass. And we'll be back. We'll be back.
Live for the moment. Ooh, live for the time. Ooh, live for the moment. Now you get yours and I'll get mine. I wanna sing 1,000 times a day so I could get you higher to the ground. Get you high. Whatever you need to enjoy the way to be inside the moment of the now. A little bit.
And now, once again, the Sax Pack. This bunch of rogue platoon leaders from that orchestra are great. We thank them so much, and we'll be back after these messages. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back what we call the slider moment, where people slide in and slide out. We have someone by the name of Tony Edwards. He's a young man, and he's originally from the great state of New York, the Empire State. And he's a young author. He just got this book out called A Matter of Time, Book 1. There's supposedly up to 7 of these coming out.
At least 7. Could be more.
Yeah, maybe more. And you can get that book on Barnes & Nobles. You can get that book on Amazon. Almost anywhere you can get a book, you can get A Matter of Time. Tell us a little bit, what's the synopsis behind this book 1?
So basically it's about time travel. It's a time travel adventure series. It follows a main character named Charlie Henderson. He's a 17-year-old high school senior. And his younger sister Maddie, who is 15, and 3 of their friends, they get transported back in time to the 1970s. Why I picked the 1970s, I still don't know. I was born in 1996, but that's the decade I picked.
I was 15. What's going on here? Okay.
And they have to figure out why they're there. They have to figure out who brought them back there. They have no idea. All they have is the clothes on their back, and they just got to go from there. There may or may not be a gangster in there. I don't know. You have to read the book to find out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I read the prologue and I read the first chapter. The way it registers in your mind is like you're watching a movie. So I loved it. The language just flowed off the pages. And this is mostly for what we call young adult.
Yeah, so it is classified as young adult fiction. But when people ask me what age this is for, I say 13 and up. Now, notice I don't say 13 through 20 or 13 through 30.
Right.
I say 13 and up because this is the kind of book that 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old will pick up, and their parents would buy it from them and say, matter of time. And they would read it, they would like it, grandparents too.
Well, the Harry Potter was like that, right? They bought it for the kids, and then you found all these adults reading Harry Potter, you know? And Harry Potter was difficult, I thought, because there were all these words, made-up words, you know, of everything.
Hufflepuff,
yes,
my favorite.
This is modern and to the point. And so you're planning, you're thinking up to 7 books on this series continues. Because, this one at the end, I peeked at the end. And it's clear that things have been resolved, but there's all these other doors now open that one has to go to. And when did you find time to write this?
So I actually wrote this during the first part of the pandemic back in March and April 2020. As we mentioned, I'm originally from New York, and the state locked down pretty hard.
Yes,
and
New York was
I had
bad.
a month I was in my house. And I've been writing my entire life, but I would start a story, I would never finish it. I finally said, this is going to be the time that I write a story start to finish. So I wrote this in about 4 weeks.
Wow.
And then I went back to work and kind of forgot about it for another 1.5 years. And last summer rolled around and I was like, I wrote a book, I'm going to publish it. So here it is.
Well, some of... It's funny that you say that I wrote it and I dropped it in the drawer and there it stood for about 1.5 years or whatever. Some of the greatest movies were scripts that were laying for years in someone's drawer, and then they, I should revisit this, and then it turns out to be this incredible film. So this has that kind of thing. And so what do you hope to do further with this book?
Well, it's funny that you say that. So we're slating these for movies right now because in the beginning you said that, you read it, it feels like there's a movie.
Yeah.
And that is my end goal. I would like this to become a film adaptation. But even before that happens, this weekend, this Friday and Saturday, we're actually going to be doing some still shoots that are going to make the book come alive.
Wow.
So we have some actors that are going to be playing the major characters. Some actors that were in Lethal Weapon 3, some other Hollywood movies. They're coming up here from Orlando. But most of the characters are actually going to be played by St. Augustine locals.
So your dream is, if this becomes a film project, you'd love to film it here in St. Augustine.
Absolutely. And the crazy thing about this book, when you'll read it, it appears to have nothing to do with St. Augustine, because the main characters are from Fresno, California, which, again, why I picked Fresno, I have no idea. I've never been there. I pretty much just looked at a Google Maps and I saw, Fresno, never heard of that city. That's where my book is going to take place. But they may or may not go to Chicago. I don't know. You read the book, you'll find out. But it's crazy, because when I was going around with my agent, Stevie Lynn, who I have to say, she's been amazing.
She's out there. She's great. Stevie Lynn is out there. Let's give her a hand. She's great. She's out there.
The best talent agent in the entire universe, no doubt.
Well, she has a great history with Universal, so you have a heavyweight.
But it's just been a blessing working with her. But anyway, she took me around the city, and I've been here for a little while, but I didn't realize how many locations in the city, how many small businesses look like they come right out of my book.
So it's great. It's great. So listen, I'm glad you're here, and I thank you for being here with us.
And I want to thank you, Jorge, for taking the time to speak with me. I just want to tell you, you are probably the most amazing person that I've met in my short time down here. And he is the perfect representation of what makes St. Augustine such a great city. It just got such a diverse mix of people. You got your professionals, your artistic, creative people, just the regular people who make the city run, the eclectic personalities, especially the restaurant owners and workers. I've had some of the most amazing meals here in St. Augustine, and that means a lot because I'm from New York, and New York is known for its food.
Foodie state
But
of food.
most of all, I've lived in a few places in my life, and this was the first place that I really feel at home. And this book, I couldn't think of a better place to launch it than right here in St. Augustine, the greatest city in the world.
Well, we welcome you. Thank you. And a matter of time. It is very, very good. And I guess I'll have to finish it now, because I read chapter 1. And I'm like, okay, let's get more. It's very well written. But thank you again. And I needed a poster.
Thank you, Jorge.
Let me show this while you're here. Also, Yvette Monell is out there from Old City, and she wanted me to show you. Lenny Foster took the picture. This is the cover. And this is Christina Parrish Stone. She will eventually come to the show as a slider. But she's great. She's really taken the St. John's Cultural Council and just taken it to a whole new level. I mean, I'm talking like from the first floor of the Empire State Building to the 102nd floor, really fast. So thank you, Yvette, and look forward to looking for this magazine. And that's all we have with our sliders. We'll be back with our next guest in about a minute. Thank you. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with our last guest of the evening, David Reed. David, how long have you been in the St. Augustine area?
About 3 years now.
Okay, all right. And you're originally from?
Western Massachusetts.
Ah, New England.
The Berkshires.
Yes. The what?
The Berkshires.
Oh, the Berkshires.
There.
Yes. And now we were talking, and you were telling me that at a very young age, you've been a musician all your life.
Pretty much.
And at a young age, you started with the trumpet.
I did.
And you were how old when you started with the trumpet?
6 or 7.
6 or 7. And I mean, you barely had teeth.
I didn't have teeth.
And
used to play with-
and so you had to play it from the side? Ah, that's too funny.
I did it all the way through college, and then they changed me because they said it wasn't proper, and it ruined everything.
Really for you? Yeah. So you stayed with the trumpet for a while, and then suddenly you rediscovered the guitar?
I was always fascinated with all sorts of instruments, and I was probably around 16 or so when I won a guitar in a contest.
Okay.
And I taught myself a few chords. I taught myself to play Bob Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone until my fingers bled.
And you also told me your sister had gotten a plastic guitar from Sears or something
For Christmas.
for Christmas, and she didn't touch it, and you said, "This is my chance."
That was the first guitar.
That was the first
That was the first guitar.
Yeah, I'm surprised Sears doesn't exist anymore. It was it was the American store. It's amazing that it's not here. But so now, what was it that suddenly, was it rock and roll that brought you to the guitar?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the British invasion.
Oh, who
And
was
blues.
responsible? The Rolling Stones?
Rolling Stones.
Oh,
Rolling Stones, Beatles.
wow.
My first live concert when I was 15 was the Dave Clark 5.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's
I'm an old guy.
Yeah.
Vintage.
Well, I was talking with somebody. I saw with somebody that radio is very prejudiced because you don't hear a band that I used to love was Three Dog Night.
Yeah.
And you rarely ever hear a Three Dog Night song. So there must be something with the copyright or something that doesn't allow it to be played on radio. I don't know. But you hear all these other music of that time, and the Three Dog Night never existed, and it was such a popular band. So now, how far did you go with how seriously did you take the guitar?
Well, I took it seriously in that I was taught myself to play.
Okay.
I never had any lessons.
Wow.
I'm self-taught.
Wow.
But I had enough of a music background with
trumpet.
so that I was able to a transferable skill, as it were.
Right, and sort of deconstruct
Sure.
and see how that
sure.
transfers to
And I wanted an instrument that would play all the parts. The trumpet only plays one part at a time, unless you sing and play at the same time, which some people can do. I'm not one of them, and you can be thankful for that. And I wanted something that I could accompany my singing and play with other folks and stuff, and girls like guitars.
So now I've seen you in some pictures where you have a guitar, you have a pedal drum, you have a harmonica, you're like a whole orchestra.
Well, some of the old blues players like to refer to their way of playing as playing the guitar as they have a band in the hand, and I like that. And that's my bass player right there.
Right.
There's my rhythm and there's my lead. So I've been trying to emulate those fellas for a long time.
Right.
And it just keeps. I keep learning, keep growing,
So now we're here, and these string instruments are cigar boxes, am I correct?
They certainly are.
And so now, where did you fall down and suddenly say, yo, cigar box, string instrument?
I was always interested in indigenous music of different cultures. And if you digger you deep in that, you'll find that digger you deep, deeper you dig, something like that. You'll find people made instruments out of things that they had around.
Right.
And I had learned that and seen some old pictures, Civil War vintage pictures, where folks had been making instruments out of boxes and casks and things that they had around, because they couldn't afford, a factory-made instrument or to have a luthier make something for them. Right. And I was always fascinated with that. And when I was teaching school, years ago. I had a 6th grade class, and we made dulcimers out of shoe boxes. And it was great fun. And so I've always enjoyed making things, and things that make music is even better. And I ran into a fella, a blues player that I knew, and he went to one of his shows, and he was playing a single string instrument that he'd made out of an old coffee can. And the music that he could get out of this thing, which was called a diddly bow, just blew my mind. And I went and I looked at it closer after his show, and I thought, I'm going to do this. I can do this. And that was.
Did you think you could do it better?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't look like a coffee can with a string.
I got some of those.
Oh, wow.
And actually, the first instrument that I was telling somebody earlier, the first instrument I made, I didn't have a cigar box. No. So what I did have was an olive oil can. So I made it out of an olive oil can. And now, if you look and you see a lot of African musicians are making their instruments out of gasoline cans and cooking oil cans and things like that. So I wasn't far off the mark.
Right.
And consequently, this was somewhere around 2010, I think, I began this, and roughly 250 later. I can't stop. I've become a junkie.
I mean, they're beautiful. About how long does it take you to build one of these?
Well, a lot of it depends on what's on hand. Every one of these things is different because the materials are all recycled and repurposed.
Right.
For instance, the neck on this is wormy chestnut, which is near impossible to get, but it came from the floor of a 300-year-old farmhouse in Vermont.
Oh, wow.
That was torn down.
Right.
The neck on this one is oak, and it was made from a church pew that was taken out of a church that was about to be demolished. And so I went and got some of this wood and, milled it down. And the boxes are all different dimensions, so that will kind of inform.
Well, we're running out of time. Play us a little something on this and on these other instruments.
All right.
It's beautiful.
Well, I raised my head, I set my sails. In the eye of the storm, the belly of a whale. My spirit stood on solid ground. I'll be at peace when they lay me down. That's an example of a sort of a ballady sort of thing you can do.
Now, if you play another one of these, like that little one, is the sound acute or higher or?
This one is very different. I figured most of my instruments have 3 strings, and they don't have any frets.
Right.
So people go, how do you know where you are? And I say, I don't.
Good answer.
This is my fret, and this is also recycled too. This is a bushing from a wheelbarrow.
Look at that.
So, like I said, most of these things were made with 3 strings. This one has 6. So I figured if 3 is fun, 6 is twice as much fun. Now, what I didn't know is what the thing would sound like, and I never know what any of these things are going to sound like until after they're done. So it's always a surprise. And we become partners in whatever we do. They inform me what they want to play. And this one, I was told sounds like an Indian veena.
Oh, yeah. Reminds me of George Harrison. Used to love those. Beautiful.
I late last night when my boss come home, and I asked him about his lady. You know the only answer that we could give, yeah, where's she gone with a gypsy Davy? Where's he riding with a gypsy Davy? I gone with a gypsy Davy, singing with her blackjack Davy. Something like that.
So we've run out of time, but how many of these do you have, David? How many of these instruments do you have with 1 string, 2 string, coffee can, cigar box?
I was telling somebody earlier, I made about 250 of them. I still have most of them. But,
Wow.
that's not true. I've sold a number of them and have given some away and have quite a few still left. Now this is the dog dish in here, a pet food potato.
Let's see what that sounds like. Oh, wow. I see a movie score in this one.
Absolutely.
Wow. Thank you, my friend, David Reed.
Thank you, Jorge.
There it is everywhere.
Thank you,
You want to know more? His website is amazing. He plays around town. Follow him. This is Americana at its best. Thank you so much, my
You're
friend.
welcome. You're welcome.
And we'll be back with Sax Pack after this. Okay, and to close the show, once again, the amazing Sax Pack. Yeah, baby, they're cooking it all. Look, I want to thank everybody for a wonderful show. Tracy Halcomb, Magdalena Hess, David Reed, Tony Edwards, and the Sax Pack. You're all amazing. I'll see you again next Tuesday. Yeah.